The dark highway. I have always loved driving at night. There's something peaceful about the emptiness of the roads, the hum of the engine, and the solitude of being alone with my thoughts. The world feels different when the stars are the only things lighting the way and everything around you seems to slow down. It was a long drive, but it had been a good day, the kind of day where everything just falls into place, you know? I'd spent the weekend visiting some old friends, and now I was heading back home to the city. The freeway I was on was deserted, stretching out in front of me like a ribbon of asphalt disappearing into the inky darkness. I didn't mind the solitude. In fact, I preferred it. No distractions, no noise, just the soft glow of my headlights cutting through the darkness. I had the radio on low, the soft crackle of static blending with the occasional distant hum of a station when it started. At first, I thought it was nothing. Maybe the road had a slight bend that I hadn't noticed in the dark. But then it happened again. A figure, just at the edge of my headlights, flitting across the road, almost too quick to register. I slammed on the brakes, heart pounding in my chest, but there was nothing there. No one. Just the empty road and the quiet hum of my car. I shook my head, trying to shake off the feeling of unease. Maybe it was a trick of the light or my eyes playing games with me. Still, I couldn't help but glance in the rearview mirror, scanning the road behind me. Nothing. I exhaled, trying to calm myself. I'd been on the road for hours, and the fatigue was starting to hit. My eyes were heavy, the long stretch of road blurring together. That's when I saw it again. The same figure, but this time it was closer. Much closer. I saw the fleeting silhouette dart across the road, almost like it was waiting for me. I cursed under my breath and slammed on the brakes again, but this time I didn't wait for the figure to disappear. I pulled my car over to the side of the road, my hands shaking on the wheel. I turned off the engine, trying to steady my breathing. Maybe it was an animal, maybe it was just the shadows playing tricks on me, but something felt wrong. I sat there in the dark, alone in the silence, the only sound the occasional rustle of wind through the trees. I reached for my phone to check the time, but when I turned it on, the screen flickered. The battery was at 2%. I cursed again, a little louder this time. Of course, it was dying. I looked around the inside of my car, searching for something, anything to keep my mind occupied. The shadows around me seemed to stretch farther than they should. That's when I noticed it. Something moving just beyond the tree line. At first I thought it was just another trick of the light, but then it moved again. Slowly, deliberately, like it was aware of me. I gripped the steering wheel tightly, heart pounding in my chest. Was someone out there? A person? Or something else? I turned the engine back on, hands cold and sweating, and pulled back onto the road. The headlights illuminated the stretch of highway ahead, but it felt like the world had shifted. The road now felt longer, narrower. The trees on either side seemed to press in, like they were closing in on me. I glanced in the rearview mirror once more. No one there. But then, as I turned my attention back to the road, I saw something strange. The road ahead had changed. The familiar markers, the exit signs, the mile markers, they were gone. There was no streetlight, no sign to tell me how much farther I had to go, just endless, empty darkness. Panic crept up my spine like a chill, my breath quickening. I slammed on the brakes again, the tires screeching against the pavement as I swerved to a halt. I opened the door of the car and stepped out, the cool night air hitting me in a rush. The stillness of the highway was suffocating. I turned in a slow circle, expecting to see something, anything that could explain what was happening. But there was nothing. Only the road stretching out behind me, dark and empty. Then I heard it. A sound. Faint at first, like a whisper on the wind, but it grew louder. the trail for some time and no longer plunged swiftly. I focused in on it. I saw something red in the distance, a single wire flowing between two buildings, front and back of Park Road. I spun around, trying to pinpoint the source of the sound. It was coming from the trees, from the woods beside the road. I froze. My instincts screamed at me to get back in the car, but my feet wouldn't move. The thuds grew louder, closer. It sounded like something was moving toward me, step by step. And then I saw it, in the corner of my eye, the figure. It was there, standing just beyond the tree line, waiting. It wasn't a person. It couldn't be. Its limbs were too long, its movements too unnatural, like it was gliding more than walking. The figure stepped forward, slowly, silently, and as it did, I felt a cold wave of dread wash over me, the air thick with something heavy and suffocating. I stumbled backward, my heart racing in my chest. I didn't even think. I ran. My feet pounded against the asphalt as I sprinted back toward the car, adrenaline coursing through my veins. My hands fumbled as I tried to open the door, but it was locked. I could hear it behind me, the sound of footsteps getting closer. Thud, thud, thud. I finally yanked open the door and threw myself into the driver's seat, slamming the door shut behind me. I slammed the car into drive and floored the accelerator, the tires screeching as I sped away. But the figure wasn't behind me anymore. No, it was ahead of me, now standing in the middle of the road, its face pale and featureless, staring into the car with hollow black eyes. I swerved to the side, my heart in my throat, praying I wouldn't hit it. My hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white, as I sped down the highway, not looking back. I couldn't afford to. I had to get away. But when I glanced in the rearview mirror again, the road was empty. The figure was gone. I don't know how long I kept driving, my mind reeling, my body trembling with fear. The night seemed to stretch on forever, but when I finally made it back to the city, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still following me, that whatever I'd seen on that highway wasn't just a trick of the mind, it was real. And it was waiting for me to return.